Hello and welcome to a new weekly reading vlog. So, starting off a bit differently today, I've got some book mail, which I have been waiting for such a long time. Harry's just sitting there as well, so it's a bit awkward. It's like I'm talking to two people. Dude, careful, careful, sharp. Look over here. Crazy, crazy hand. So I ordered these books like over a week ago. I'm hoping they are actually books, but it is a heck of a lot of Brandon Sanderson. It is! What's this? That'll keep him entertained. Look at it! Look at them! Oh! This is a very dodgy angle. We're gonna go with it. This is Brandon Sanderson's The Way of Kings series. The books are out so far. He has a new book coming out in this month, I think, like in a few days. I pre-ordered it because it was coming signed and it was hardback and I wanted it basically. And I knew I was going to read these, but then I was planning to read them before it came out. I think I have listened to actually most of the first book on audiobook, but I'm going to reread it like physically anyway because I didn't really listen to it very well. And I didn't listen to it very well. And there's so much information you kind of need to like probably read it twice anyway. But they all come in 2 parts because they're absolutely massive. I think I was listening to one of his like lectures, Brandon Sanderson, and he writes all the books in 3 books and then splits them. So I think these are all written as like kind of one, maybe. I don't know. I could be wrong there, so don't quote me on that. But this is the first lot of the series. So this is book 1. They're a bit bent because of the things. So book 1 is The Way of Kings. This is part 1 and part 2. And then we have book 2, which is The Words of Radiance. Book 1, part 1, part 2. And then finally we have Oathbringer, which I'm so excited. I saw Beck and Books do this and I didn't know that they did this, but wait, how do I do it? They make a picture. That's so cool. Is that just me? Do you not think that's so cool? I think it's so cool. Leo, will you stop that? He's just running around with his head buried in it. Look at him. Having the absolute time of his life. But yeah, so those books are those. And then I also got, because I wanted to get some free delivery, and I was like, well, you know what, I'm going to read them at some point anyway. I got the box set of the second Mistborn era. So I've read the Mistborn era over the holidays, or the summer, over lockdown part 1. It's now lockdown part 2, so maybe I'll read them then. Actually, I think I'm going to read this part first, but yes. So this is much smaller, like they're much more small. They're still like £10 each though if you buy them wholesale, or not wholesale, like not in a bundle for discount. So The Ally of Law, The Shadow of Self, and The Bands of Mourning. I don't think I did that in order. It doesn't say the order in them, so I shall find out the order of them and read them in that order. But this doesn't follow, I think, the same characters from Mistborn. I think it's completely different characters. I think you do have like some, like, I won't mention it in case you haven't read it, but 1 or 2 characters appear, but it is a few years after that, so most of them aren't in it. But yes, there we go. Those are the books I got, and they look absolutely splendid. I don't have any shelf space to put them, so that would be fun. But we'll find out while I'll go. My beauties and the rascal. You eating the laptop? That's not a good idea. So yes, welcome to the vlog. I'll get back to you when I've got some reading to tell you, but I have a lecture now. So on to the Zoom. Hello. So it is Monday. I kind of didn't say anything to introduce this vlog because I was very excited about my book and also rushing because I literally had a seminar in about 2 minutes after that clip was filmed. So it is Monday, the 9th of November, I want to say. So reading wise, I don't know how much reading I'm going to get done. I'm hoping a lot, but the next 2 weeks I'm kind of jam packing a lot of kind of uni work in, but obviously I won't really tell you about that because that's a bit boring. Reading outside of that, I am also hoping to get a lot done because I want to start on that massive pile of Sanderson books that I now have in my corner. So what I'm currently reading is this beautiful book. It's got like sea stuff there, and it is The Devil in Dark Water. The Devil and the Dark Water by Stuart Turnton, and he also wrote The Seven Deaths of Evelyn something. I haven't read it. Evelyn Stewart or something like that. But yes, he also wrote that, and it is really good. So I've been reading it for ages. It feels like now, like 2 weeks, and I'm only 200 pages in. It's 550 pages long, so I'm hoping I will finish it this week. If I don't, that's a bit sad. But it's a beautiful book. I don't have the dust jacket. I'll show you with the dust jacket later on maybe. But it is a fantasy period detective set on a ship. I think it's the 1600s it's set in, but it has like kind of weird vibes. So it has like kind of magical realism elements to it. I don't know. I kind of hope the magic isn't actually magic and then it'll all be explained without magic at the end, because it is like a detective thing. So I'm hoping that there will be a reason for all of it without magic being a reason, because I don't know, it would be better. But we follow quite a few characters, like 2 main point of view characters. We've got Aunt and Sarah. Aunt is the best friend of this detective who's kind of like Sherlock Holmes vibes. He's got like an amazing brain. He's like really good and amazing at all his stuff. But he's actually been arrested by this kind of, how would you say, like rich dude who is the company owner or very high up in this company who owns this boat, and this company's taking a lot of shipment stuff over to Amsterdam, and he's taking the detective dude over to Amsterdam to set trial and basically hang him for this thing. But they won't tell anyone what he's actually been arrested for, so no one knows. Even the detective doesn't know what he's been arrested for, which is a bit strange. But there's a lot going on, and Sarah is his wife, who he's a bit misogynistic. That was a bit noisy, sorry if you heard that. He's very misogynistic, he hits her quite a lot, he's very degrading towards her, and she's trying to kind of like come out of her shell and kind of be the strong woman that she is and overcome him and be a part of this detective thing. Because just before they got on the boat, big plot thing that you need to kind of know, just before they got into the boat, they were threatened that the devil had cursed it and that they were all going to die. So they're trying to figure out who cursed the ship and killed this guy who cursed the ship, because it's not as straightforward as it seems. But it's actually really good. It's written very easily, very accessible. The characters are quite good and the relationships that are building up are very good, and I'm enjoying it thoroughly and I'm enjoying the plot. It was kind of exactly, I wanted a detective fantasy to read, and I went into the shop and I just saw this, like it was a spur of the moment buy. Don't read it, I'm not gonna lie, it was the end pages that got it for me. But I'm really enjoying it, so I'm hoping to finish this. Not only because I'm really enjoying it, but because I now want to start on The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. That has to be started pretty soon, let's face it. Let's face it, I need to get going. I've waited for it for so long. So it's currently about 3 o'clock, even though, well, it feels really dark in here. It doesn't look that dark on the camera. Wee. So yes, I'm gonna start or continue on with my uni work, get some of that done, get some reading of this done, and I'll let you know how it goes. Just before I sign off, can we look at my little feet warmer? He's very good at it, and he's also very cute, so it's a double bonus as a feet warmer. And sorry for the terrible lighting, but it's past 6 o'clock now, which means there is no good lighting, and this is as good as you're gonna get. So my plan for this evening is to try and finish this book. It's Tuesday, if I said that, I don't know. And I managed to read like 200 pages yesterday. which is quite a lot. So I only have about 150 pages left. So hopefully I can do it. Also, see the beginning, like the end pages of this drawing of a ship. Okay? So, you know, very nice. I just thought they were drawings of a ship, and I thought that's nice end pages. And then I was looking at it the other night, and Harry laughed at me and he said I was really stupid for this. But I didn't realise it's actually a map of the ship in the book. So like it's got like where the people are staying, what the different areas of the ship means. So when they're talking about the ship and like where they're going in the ship, you can actually look on here and see where it is. Would anyone else have got that? Did anyone else get that? Am I just stupid? Probably. But I think it's pretty cool. At the moment, I'm not sure how this is gonna go. It could either be great or it could be middling. So like the devil, I keep changing my mind whether or not the devil is like a real magical being like possessing these people, or it's just a person who is doing these deeds and it will all be figured out in some non-magical way, or like that is totally reasonable and could possibly happen or not. It doesn't have to be totally reasonable, but there is like an actual logical explanation for it. Like it doesn't have to be possible in this world because it is like, you know, I don't mind when, yeah, do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? I don't know what way it's gonna go. We'll find out tonight, I suppose. So yeah, let's get some reading. And then I can finally start on Brandon Sanderson, The Stormlight Archive, because that is the goal in life. See you then. Hello, so it is Wednesday and I'm gonna start The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. Oh yeah, so I finished, oh gosh, I'm tired. So I finished The Devil in the Dark Water yesterday and it was really good. So I'm gonna give it like a 4.5 star, I think. It was funny. I liked the characters was enjoyable. The plot ending wasn't quite as dramatic as I don't know. For some reason it wasn't quite as dramatic as I was expecting it to be. I don't know if that was because I was trying to read it quickly, or not that I was trying to read it quickly, but I was just generally reading it quite quickly. Some of the plot reveals I was a bit like, whoa, I didn't think that was going to happen, but not necessarily because like, I don't know, it wasn't a big plot reveal, which is why it's not quite a 5-star read, but I did really enjoy it. The writing was really easy to read, everything was really good about it, and I did quite like, he put at the end an apology to, to boats and like historical fiction, because basically he was like, I did the research for this book, it's set in like 1634 or something like that, and he was like, technically it is historical fiction, but I did the research about history and then I just threw away the research that didn't work with the book. So a lot of the things weren't like accurate. He didn't have as many like crew members as you probably would on a boat that you would normally have. He didn't have like, I don't know, a lot of events didn't happen, or they happened later, or they happened earlier, or things were more developed than they should have been, etc. So he was like, sorry, but you know, I just wrote what I wanted to write and that was fine, which I quite liked. So it's like, it is a fun book, it's meant to be a fun read, it's not meant to be like, you're not meant to nitpick all the historical things, which is fine for me. I read it more like a fantasy than like, more like an urban fantasy set in history than like a historical fiction book anyway. So long as you're kind of going into it with that respect, like you're not a historical fiction kind of like knowledgeable reader, if that makes sense, then I think it'll be fine for you. So yeah, 4.5 stars. I actually really enjoyed it. Good book. And now I'm on to The Way of Kings, which I'm excited for. I look very tired. I've actually listened to the audiobook of like 80%, 90% of this book, like both part 1 and part 2. So I think I have, in theory, I know the whole plot of the first parts of this book, but I read the like prologue and I still don't really get what's going on. So I think it'll be okay. I don't think it'll be like rereading a book where you take it a little bit slower because it's a little bit more, you don't really have the urgency to read through it. But I think it is quite a slow book anyway, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to really tell necessarily whether or not the reason why. But I'm excited to get through it. I really want to get into it. I'm excited. So I'm going to start it and we'll see how far I go. time since I spoke to you. It is now Saturday. It is a grey and grizzly day. I don't know if you can see out there, but it's not very nice, so lovely stuff. Week 2 of lockdown has started and the productivity has greatly decreased. We've been going on a few walks. I took a few clips, so that'll be in here. But yeah, one thing though, I'm reading it slower than I was reading the other book at the beginning of the vlog. I don't know if it's just like the accessibility of the language is like a little bit more, like you have to pay more attention to it, or you just can't read it as quickly, or I find that anyway. I don't know, but I'm reading it a lot slower. It doesn't mean my enjoyment is less, although it might be slightly less. But I think there's just a lot of information and it is quite a dense book, if that makes sense. But I am that far through it. So I have like less than 200 pages left. So in theory I could finish it today and start part 2 of Way of Kings tomorrow. Do you think we can do it? I've pretty much done all the uni work that I was planning to do already today, and I don't know what time it is. Alexa, what's the time?
The time is 11:52 a.m.
It's 11:52 a.m. So we've got a whole day. So I might see if I can finish as much of this as possible today. See if we can finish. Do you think we can? I don't actually know if I told you what this is about, but I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know what it's about. I tried to explain it yesterday to Harry, and there's just so many different tangents and lines to it, and story kind of arcs and premises and stuff. I don't really know, and there's a lot of unanswered questions in this. Like, it's basically just building up a heck of a lot of unanswered questions that you're like constantly thinking, but what does this mean? What's going on? So yeah, but this follows 3 or 4 characters, 3 or 4 storylines, with kind of one of the storylines being 2 characters in that, if that makes sense. And it is based on this world where this kingdom was signing this treaty treaty with this other kind of species almost. The way they described them, they seem kind of like alien vibe, but this other species, they were doing a peace treaty. It was all going to be great, but then the like alien species assassinated the king, and that started this long war that has been going on for like 6 years I think now at the point of the book. And we follow one who is the brother of the king, so he's now like the uncle of the new king. We follow him and his son. That is one storyline. We follow this girl called Shallan, who at the moment doesn't seem to have any impact on the other 2 storylines, or like it's very less connected to them. She's in a whole different area of the world. I suppose she is actually connected. She's trying to become the kind of understudy, or the ward of this very clever and intellectual and esteemed woman who is the brother of the king, who we were talking about. And then we also follow this other man who was in the army, but he's now a bridge person, which means he carries these bridges that help in the war against these Pashendi, the like alien people. And that's because the war takes place on the Shattered Plains, which is like basically a bunch of shattered plains. I'll find you a picture. So if you remember me saying that I read this originally in the audiobook, I found where I was in the audiobook and I'm about halfway through the part 2 book, but this has a lot of like, or quite a few pictures in it and the maps in it and stuff, and they really help with understanding it. I understand it so much better now. I can visualize things, because when they were talking about the audiobook, I couldn't really picture this. Like, I don't know if you can see, like that's how they fight on these shattered plains, and they have to have bridges to get across like the crevices and stuff, and it takes like hours and hours to get to the bit where they then fight over these things, and it's a bit confusing, but if you read it you'll understand. So whilst I think the guy who narrates the audiobook is really good, the girl part, I don't really like her voice as much, so I found it a bit distracting. But whilst I think the guy is really good at the audiobook and I would recommend the audiobook, I would also recommend even just picking up the first book or like getting it from your library, just so that you can see the visual aids that come along with it, like the map, so that you can visualize where places are. I always like a map, but then like if if I find the contents page, you'll see like they have all these visual stuff that are through it. So it helps you visualize what the animals in it look like, help you visualize what the war zone looks like, the shattered plains, etc. It is much more helpful than I thought it would be to read it in person. So yeah, that's the plan. I'm enjoying it. I think I'll enjoy it. I just want all my questions answered. I want all my questions answered, but that's, knowing Brandon Sanderson, not going to happen until like the last book. So some of them probably will, but most of them probably won't. We'll find out.
Come on, little gremlin. Oh, did I go down? Wah, wah. There's no biting allowed though. What's there?
Hello, so it's currently Monday, so I'm actually editing the vlog now to go up tomorrow, and I completely forgot to film an outro or update you on how I went. I think mainly because I did finish Way of Kings Part 1 on Saturday, but I finished it like 1:45, so I didn't really like pick up the camera or like, hey yeah, I finished it. And then yesterday I actually didn't read anything. I took the day off reading. Well, I took the day off reading, but I did spend the whole day working on my dissertation. I've got like a hand-in date for that soon, not for the actual thing, like for like bibliographies and resources and stuff. So I just spent the whole day researching for that, and I got really involved in it and got a bit like irate with one of the books that I'm doing. For those that are interested, I'm studying the character of Thetis, who is Achilles' mum, and how she is presented, or like, I don't know, how she's kind of transferred into the modern era in all kind of like retellings of ancient literature that's been kind of like risen in the last few months and years, and specifically looking at the Song of Achilles and how she's presented in that. And after doing research, funnily enough, I read it early in the summer, so I do have a reading vlog I think for that, but I read it early in the summer and I gave it 5 stars because it made me cry. Normally if a book makes me cry, I think it's like must have some strong connection to me, so kind of a default thing for me to do is to give it a really high star rating. And I didn't really think about it any more than that. I kind of just put it aside and thought, oh, I might be interested, because at that point I knew I wanted to on Greek literature. I didn't know exactly what. But after researching and looking into it and actually going into the passages that surround Thetis in it, she was always a character that actually interested me in the book anyway, because she is kind of like, the physical descriptions of her always kind of like intrigued me. But I've now lowered my star rating to about 2 on Goodreads. That extra 1 star, making it not a 1 star is because it did make me cry, and I have to give it validation for that. And you know, yeah. Let me know if you want me to tell about more. I'm not gonna like clog up this video because I think it's already quite long. But yeah, I have completely changed my mind on that book, and yeah, poor Thetis basically. So yeah, but yes, I finished Way of Kings. Let's not get distracted. I've already been distracted, but you know, Way of Kings. Finished Way of Kings. I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot better rereading it than it was listening to the audiobook, mainly because it has all those pictures and stuff in it, but I'm not finding it like I'm rereading a book. Normally if I reread a book, I take a lot longer to do it because I kind of like, there's no urgency to it, and you know, I know what's going to happen because I already know. This I don't, 1, because I didn't finish it, so I don't know what the ending of this book actually is going to be, and 2, there are a lot of gaps where I clearly wasn't listening to the audiobook properly, so there are a lot of bits that I don't understand, or didn't understand when I read it, or wasn't listening to it when I read it on audiobook, or listened to it, whatever. So I am actually really enjoying it. It is a very slow pace, slow build up. That is Brandon Sanderson. I think kind of forcing myself to read at least 100 pages a day is actually been quite good, because it means I am keeping that pace going. Otherwise, if I hadn't got that goal for me kind of set, I don't think I would have gone through it that quickly, which maybe would have made it feel a little bit more, not boring, but like there would be less urgency with it. But I do think it is quite page turning. Like I'm getting invested in the characters, most of them. I don't really like Shallan, like her point of view, her kind of thread. I just find it a little bit too separate from the rest of the story. I'm hoping that will change as the book goes on. Who knows? We'll find out. Yeah, I don't know, we'll find out. I'm gonna wrap this up quickly because, well, it's not been quickly, it's probably been quite a few minutes I've been rambling on now, but I'm gonna wrap it up because I think this vlog is quite long already. And if you would like to watch, like, I'm gonna do another reading vlog next week, so if you want to see what part 2 is like, I'm hoping to read that all next week in the next reading vlog. So if you would like to see that, please hit the subscribe button so you won't miss the video, and I shall see you hopefully then. If you made it this far in the vlog. Probably not, but hopefully.